Hi, thanks for joining me for this week's quick business tip. I'm Jennifer, and if the word sales call makes you want to run and hide under your desk, I have some tips that I think are going to help you. We're going to get rid of all of those sleazy, pushy, slimy sales tactics that we sometimes associate with being on a sales call. And we're going to really hone in on some of the techniques that create authentic connection, allow you to serve your client, and just really build relationships and have conversations that will result in closing more deals naturally. So, first, we need to talk about why so many people in business hate selling so much. Because let's be honest, it really does have a bad reputation. We often associate salespeople with this picture of a pushy used car salesman using a lot of manipulative tactics and just all of that ick and the slime that goes with it. But when the sales is done right, you are really just providing a service for your client. You're actually making their life better. And it's so important to keep this in mind as you are generating sales for your business. Because if you have the solution to someone's problem, connecting with those people and sharing that solution, even if that solution comes with a price tag, this is something that they actually need. It's going to make their life better. And when we reframe our mindset around selling to incorporate that we are improving people's lives, like we are helping them, um, this is what can really like cause a complete shift in your profits for your business because your ideal client is looking for someone to solve their problem. And if you're not putting your solution, your service, your product, your program out there and making that offer for them, somebody else, maybe somebody who doesn't provide the solution that they need as well as you do, or someone who doesn't care as much for them, or someone who isn't as honest, or someone who is that pushy used car salesman that we all picture, they're going to put their program out for your target audience and they're going to get the sales. And this is bad all around. And I see this time and time again with marketing agencies that just aren't doing the work that they should be doing for their clients, or they're promising one thing and delivering something far, far less valuable. I have clients that use website designers that are just basically letting AI design the website for them. And then they're like turning over these websites that just are terrible and they're not at all what the client asked for or what they thought they were receiving. And this makes it difficult for agencies like me that are doing honest work, that want to serve our clients, that just want the best for our clients. Because when people are using services by somebody else who is manipulative or isn't delivering the value, then the people that use those people start thinking that all marketing agencies are bad. And they're all just in it to make their own sale. They're all in it for themselves. They never get results. And that's not the case. So when you don't make an offer to your client, when you don't put your services out there, when you're not selling, and you have that solution and you have that heart and you have that caring, trustworthy, honest personality, you are doing a complete disservice to your client because not only are they not going to be introduced to your program, service, product, they are going to still look for a solution to that problem and they're going to be buying something that isn't nearly as great as what you can provide for them. So success in your business is not about having the best solution to the problem. It's about presenting that solution to the right people and offering them an easy, clear way to purchase that solution. And that's where marketing and sales come together. So we can all pretty easily identify the bad sales techniques, but here are my top three. The first one is when it's all about you. So you're going to rattle off all the features of your program or your service, and you're not going to listen to what your client is struggling with. The second bad sales red flag is the objection smashing. So when you start overcoming their objections with this really aggressive attitude, instead of understanding where those objections might be coming from, and then seeing if you guys can, like whether you need to communicate the value better, or maybe their objections are valid and your service just isn't right for them. The third sales red flag for me is that desperate energy, which I've also heard described as commission breath. And so it's that vibe that you absolutely need to make this sale. And instead of attracting clients, you're actually repelling them very strongly. So let's think back in time just a little bit. Remember all those old school infomercials that would yell at you, but wait, there's more. I used to think that that's what selling was, that selling had to look exactly like that. And I didn't want to look like that. When I felt like I had to make a sale and I tried to look like that, it felt so icky. And that in turn led me to believe that I didn't like sales. But when you run your own business, you're selling. This is what you do. Even if you hire salespeople, you still have to do the selling, because in order to train those salespeople, you have to know what you're doing well in the first place. And the best part is sales doesn't have to look like those crazy infomercials that they play at 2 a.m. Great sales are just conversations that over time build trust and understanding. So here's what a slime-free sales approach could look like. The first thing that you do is you qualify the lead, because not every prospect is going to be a good fit for your solution, your product, your service, your program. So you have to ask some pre-screening questions and make sure that you actually have something that you can offer that is going to help them solve a problem. It saves everybody so much time. The second step is to listen deeply. So really listen to what the client's problem is. Then ask them what else they're struggling with, and keep digging into the whys until you feel like you really understand where the client is coming from. Then you also want to understand where they want to be, because even if we can all identify that they're at point A, if they're not trying to get point B, your product might not be the best fit for them. You also want to know what they're afraid of, and what they desire and what they really need. Because the better you understand them, then the better you are able to articulate how your solution gets them what they really want. The third step to slime-free sales is storytelling. So instead of just listing out all of the features that your product or service or program entails, what you want to do is you want to talk about your past clients. Like, oh, this is a problem that you have. That sounds a lot like somebody else that I used to work with. And this is how I helped them. Or this sounds a lot like someone I'm working with right now. They were so afraid of this and they wanted to get here. And this is how I helped them. And you would not believe the results that we've gotten for them. These stories are so much more impactful than you telling them how you're giving them $25,000 worth of value for only $5,000. They really need to hear how this has really changed somebody else who's just like them. The fourth step is to embrace their objections. They're going to have them. It's very rare that you get on a sales call and someone's like, yep, okay, sign me up. Their objections are not a personal attack against you. Too expensive just means that they don't really understand the value. So you need to do a better job communicating that value. So dig deeper to understanding too expensive. Ask them why. Find out what they're thinking because digging deeper into that is going to get you to the real root of the problem. And getting defensive is not going to help you close a sale. And the fifth step is to be super clear in what you're saying. And that clarity is going to give you the confidence that you need. So whether you have programs, packages, services, products, you need to really understand what's in the package, what the benefits of the package are, what the price is, and what their next step is in their journey to purchasing this from you. Because if the client gets confused at any step along the way and you are not there to help guide them to the next step, it's highly unlikely that they're going to sign the contract. And signing the contract is one of the best parts. We call it making an offer, and it shouldn't feel scary. So here's how you can close the conversation without things feeling awkward or icky or slimy or anything else. One option is to say, hey, so we've been talking a little bit, and based on what you've said to me, it sounds like this solution would be a best fit for you. Are you ready to learn more? Or do you have any questions about it? The second option is to just start talking about what the next steps are. Hey, so the first thing that we do when we sign you on as a client is we do some onboarding. So are you ready to schedule a kickoff call? Tuesday at 2 o'clock works really well for me. What would be good for you? And the third option is just to not disappear because maybe they do have more questions, or maybe they want to talk to their spouse, or maybe Tuesday doesn't look good for them, or maybe they're just not ready yet. And if you're just like, okay, well, didn't make the call, didn't make the close, moving on to the next one, you're going to leave so much money on the table. So you need to ask them, like, what their time frame looks like. Can you follow up next week? And continue to check up on them even when it feels naggy. Because here's the thing, we're all crazy busy. We've all gotten an email, a text message, a voicemail, and said, yeah, I'm going to get right back to that. And then 3 days goes by. And after 3 days, chances are pretty good that I've forgotten that I was going to get back to that email. So when someone is doing a regular follow-up, not in a pushy way, just in a, hey, you said you wanted to talk about this more. I'd really like to get back on your calendar. Or I'd really like to give you some more information. I'd like to help answer any questions that you have. People really embrace that. They feel like they're not just a number, that you're making an effort to follow up with them in a way that isn't like, okay, so are you ready to like hand me your credit card or not? Because good selling isn't about trickery. It's not about manipulation. And it's really not about a hard, pushy close. It's about believing in what you're selling, caring about your client, and helping them find the best solution for them. And that kind of energy is what's going to attract all of the right people to you. So, what one step can you take this week that will completely change your business? Are you going to start actually making more offers? Because if you are introducing your program, but not actually asking people to buy it, you need to start asking people to buy it. Or are you going to make some more genuine connections? The type of connections where it's not transactional, it's about you actually wanting to build a relationship with them to find out what their problem is and see if you have a solution that can help or if you know someone who does. Or maybe what you could do this week is start looking back over some of your past leads or even some past sales calls you've been on, maybe some clients that used to work with you and don't anymore, and turn those no's back into yeses by just having some better conversations with them and using some of the techniques that we discussed today. Now, if you'd like more help refining your sales process, I'd love to have a conversation with you. This is not going to be a sales call. I'm really going to want to learn about you, what you've tried in the past, what's keeping you from reaching the goals that you want to reach right now, and see if there is a way that I can help you. Either way, on this call, you are going to leave with a little more clarity than you had before you got on it. So let's start turning those sales conversations into clients. Until next week, I am Jennifer with Limitless Impact Agency.